All right, so today we're going to talk about autosuggestion. Does anybody here understand anything about autosuggestion or want to comment anything about this particular chapter in the book?
I think it's a powerful, one of the most powerful chapters. I think if we can get this down, it's going to be huge.
Yeah, autosuggestion. Can you guys see my screen? That says
Yes, sir.
on it. Okay.
Yeah.
They updated, the Zoom has been updated and it's got all kinds of crap that I don't need. And it's taking up so much room. Let's get rid of some of this bull crap. All right, can't get rid of it, I guess. All right, so Napoleon Hill said that autosuggestion is the lodestone of the philosophy. And if you can think of a arch as what this is talking about, because it's talking about construction. So when you have an arch, the arch is what holds up the arch itself. So just adjust this here. So you, stupid thing. I didn't want that. Okay, there. So if you imagine an arch works like this. So the lodestone is the rock or the stone that holds the two ends of the arch together. Because in an arch, you're curving the structure. So obviously, if stones are placed at an angle, they're going to fall, right? Gravity. But what happens is the Romans constructed the arch, and the pressure of the stones on the right press upon the stones on the left, and the lodestone is the stone where they both press. What happens if you take out that lodestone?
Crash. Collapses.
The entire arch collapses. Yeah. So when he said that autosuggestion is the lodestone of the arch of the philosophy, what was he really telling us?
The support.
Holds everything together.
It holds everything together. Who said that?
The foundation, yeah.
Tiffany.
Tiffany, okay, you get a gold star. Exactly. So the autosuggestion is the key to everything. Now, when I first started learning this at age 22, I spent 3 years studying Think and Grow Rich. And when I got promoted to a sales manager, I began focusing on teaching my salespeople goal setting. Does anybody know why goal setting doesn't always work? You can take a guess. It won't be a bad thing.
Not detailed goals?
Okay, that's one thing, not being clear, specific, and all deadline and all that. But the real answer is why goal setting doesn't work is because what hasn't changed?
Your habits.
You haven't changed. So what happens is that you begin to focus on external things like, okay, the goal might be, this time of year, there's always 3 areas of life that people focus on, right? They're called the evergreen markets. They're health, relationships, and wealth. Everybody this time of year wants to get a better job, make more money, save more money. Everybody wants to fall in love, fall out of love, get divorced, get married, whatever. And everybody wants to lose weight, gain weight, be fit, be muscular, whatever. Those are the 3 evergreen markets. Everybody sets them and nobody accomplishes them. So every new year, everybody's got the same goal. Who here has a goal, raise your hand, to make more money this year? Give me a thumbs up on the queue so I can see it. If you're not visible, just give me a thumb up on the, if you go to the chat window, you can put where's those little things? They move that too? Damn it. There used to be a place where you can do thumbs up and stuff, I guess. Oh, there it is. Okay, I just found it. No, I didn't find it. Okay. Nope, didn't find it. All right. So anyway, how many here have a goal to lose weight, gain weight, get thinner, have 6-pack abs, whatever? Anybody? Great. Who here has a goal to fall in love, fall out of love, get married, get divorced, get a boyfriend, get rid of a boyfriend, get a girlfriend, get rid of a girlfriend? Anybody have those goals?
Yep.
Absolutely.
So pretty much I would say that based on what we've been talking about, everybody has a similar goal, right? We all have those three goals. So what is autosuggestion? Autosuggestion is a term that was created by a gentleman called Dr. Emile Coué, Coue. He was a French psychologist, and he opened up a clinic in Nice, France. And it was just before the turn of the 19th, just before we went into the 19th, it's not the 19th century, I think it's the 20th century. When we turned to the 1900s. And back then, people used to go to spas because they had spring water, and that was thought to be a curative thing. So there's a spa in Nice, France, that is considered to be able to make the blind see and the lame walk. Lots of miracles, right? It's a miracle cure. So he opened up a clinic there, and what he did is he asked himself a question. And you may have heard me talk about this already, but it bears repeating, because what is autosuggestion? Repetition. But what we call it is spaced repetition. See, when you see a commercial on TV, you ever go to one of these cable channels where they're playing the same commercial, and if you want to see that particular movie or show, you have no option but to deal with the commercial because you can't get it for free. And then every commercial break, the same commercial will be on over and over and over again. Anybody ever experienced that?
Yeah. Oh my God.
How annoying is it?
It's so annoying.
Right? Why? Because the repetition is too often. But if you see the commercial now and then you watch another show and you see the same commercial, you're not as annoyed. It's like a little child saying, Mommy, are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? If they do that kind of repetition, it becomes annoying and it loses its impact. So there must be time between the repetitions, and that's what we call spaced repetition. So is everybody clear on that point? Yes, no? Maybe?
Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
So the chapter is called Autosuggestion, the Medium for Influencing the Subconscious Mind. So what is this all about? Let's take a look at what it's all about then. Let me share the screen with you on my iPad. And let's see, let's go here. Let's share. Okay, come on, baby. Give me what I want. A plugin is required. Okay. Why? We always install the same plugin. Why can't you keep the plugin in there? All right. So we're almost there. Did everybody read this chapter? Who didn't read this chapter? Did not. All right, it's not going to let me play this game. Okay, stop. All right, so we can do it in a different way. Okay, so let's go here. Okay.
No isolation, more lasting results, and easy. Is that possible? It is. Their lives will hold up. Started reality. Whether you have 100 households or almost final time.
Bear with me for a second. So another word for autosuggestion is affirmation. Another word for affirmation and autosuggestion is self-talk. Another word for all that, Tony Robbins likes to use incantation because Tony Robbins wants to be different. Nothing else. It's not a different way of doing it. So what we discover, damn it, is that the way that affirmations work is interesting. Bear with me for a second. Oh, damn, I was hoping this would work fine, but let's go over here. All right, so let's do this. And stop my share. And let me try this again. All right, we got it. We should be up and running in a minute. Okay, can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, the human mind works in pictures. Okay. So I lost my phone and using Galaxy Track phone as I didn't read it, but I've listened to it. Okay, great. Great, Jay. You read it, but you've listened to it many times. All right. So we're going to test your comprehension because unfortunately, in order for audios to work, you must listen to it multiple times and pay some attention to it initially in order to retain it. But if you do lots of repetition, it works just as well. So this is what's called the stickman picture. Back in the 1930s, Dr. Van Fleet he was the founder of something called concept therapy. He was a chiropractor. And he came up with the idea of explaining how the human mind works by using the stick figure. Everybody can see the stick figure, correct?
Yes.
So we have the conscious mind. And the conscious mind is essentially our critical thinking mechanism, okay? That's where we have reason. We can reason and we know the difference between good and bad. The second part of the mind is called the subconscious mind. And the subconscious mind does not have any critical thinking equipment. It just accepts whatever is given to it. You've heard perhaps the subconscious mind referred to as fertile soil. And I think Earl Nightingale told the story about that the subconscious mind is like a fertile garden, and you can plant nightshade, which is a deadly poison, and it'll grow just as well as it would grow some tomatoes, because the soil doesn't care whether what's planted in it is poison or food. Well, the subconscious mind is the same thing. It doesn't care what you plant in it. Whatever you plant in your subconscious mind will basically manifest. So Napoleon Hill discovered that if we are not money conscious, then by default, we are poverty conscious. And many of us have bad beliefs. Okay. So can anybody give me an idea of a belief that would be that a lot of people use that is bad in terms of thinking that way? I'll give you one to start off with. Money is the root of all evil.
Money doesn't grow on trees.
Money doesn't grow on trees. A penny saved is a penny earned. Why is that a bad affirmation?
You're not getting any more than that penny.
Pennies are worthless today. When Ben Franklin created that affirmation, a penny was worth some money. Today, it's worth nothing. I mean, some of you in this group would be older. Does anybody remember buying a hot dog for 25 cents?
Yep.
They were kids? Yeah. How much was an ice cream bar when you were a kid?
Like 40 cents?
Yeah, quarter to 50 cents, somewhere in that range, right? So if you can buy a hot dog you could buy a hot dog and a soda at the lunch truck when I went to school for about $1.50. And that was a hot dog with everything on it, chili, the whole works. And I loved it. Ralph's hot dog truck would always be by the high school. And that's where I'd go eat my lunch. For under $2, I ate lunch, which was a bargain then. And today it's, forget about it. So when we look at this stick figure picture, we have to understand that the way the human mind works is that the ideas that come in from many different sources. They come in from our friends, our relatives, our parents, and these ideas also come in from the media, right? In the past, these ideas came in through newspapers, then magazines as well, and then the radio, and then television. And today, how do we get information? How does this propaganda, this negative propaganda, get into our mind? Besides the three methods I just mentioned. Anybody know?
Internet.
Yeah, the internet, social media, right? Constantly bombarding us with negative thinking. Right now, if you tune into Fox News, and I usually don't watch the news, but I have Fox News on, I didn't know the economy was so bad. According to them, we're in the depths of a depression, of a recession. But yet, the day after New Year's, I tried to go to a restaurant and you couldn't get a seat. And somebody said, well, that's because you're in Florida and there's people visiting. And I go, yeah, but they got bills at home. They're here. I can't get a seat on I think it was a Sunday. And the parking lot was full. And normally that restaurant would be busy, but not that crazy. So people are still spending money. So it doesn't really matter what the media says. Does anybody remember or know a little bit of history about the 1929 collapse? Anybody ever study that bit of history? The Depression?
I don't remember the collapse, but I remember the recovery.
Mm-hmm.
So in 1929, what began triggering the Depression was that there was a run on banks, right? And what happened is the news got out and the newspapers started advertising or talking about how bad the economy was. Now, in its highest peak, the unemployment rate only reached about 31%. That means that 2 out of every 3 people were still working. But 31% was enough to put this country in a depression. In 2008, we had the same problem. What caused both depressions was banks. And what did banks do? They speculated. And so they passed the bill called the Glass-Steagall Act, which prohibited banks from investing money in stocks and bonds, stocks. No risk investments was the only place that banks could take and use depositor money. And then Mr. Clinton, and I'm not a Democrat or a Republican, I just look at what people do in that aspect, decided to repeal the Glass-Steagall Act. And he allowed the banks to once again speculate with investors' money. And so what did they do? They started buying derivatives. And what is a derivative? A derivative is an investment. And it's a speculative investment. And because they invested in those investments, we got a lot of junk bonds and we got a lot of junk investments, which eventually the banks didn't, in 1929, the government said, if you can't stay, they followed the principle of a free market. In a free market, the principle is that the strong survive and the weak die. So in 1929 and 1930 and 31, the president allowed the banks to go under. When they created the Glass-Steagall Act, they also created the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, FDIC. And that was to give depositors a safety net so that they wouldn't lose all their money. And there was reassuring confidence in putting your money back in the bank because nobody wanted to put their money back in the banks after the collapse in 1929 and 30. So that was put in place. So what happened is we took away the restrictions of this Glass-Steagall Act, but we kept in the FDIC, which insured everybody's money. So how come in 2008, this country didn't go into a depression like it did in 1929? Anybody know?
Yeah, the people didn't panic.
That's right. Why didn't they panic? What was the difference?
They must have had something positive somewhere that they listened to.
No, what did the government do?
Hmm.
What'd they do?
They bailed out the banks.
Huh?
They bailed out the banks.
They bailed out the banks. They also bailed out Chrysler. They bailed out GM. The only company that didn't take the government money was Ford, because they didn't want to give up certain things that the government said that they'd have to give up. So they said, screw it, we'll just survive on our own. And they did. The only company that was strong enough not to need government aid to survive the 2008, 2009 debacle. So what was the difference was that in 1929, the bank said, this is a free market. We're not going to bail you out. And so we plunged into a depression that lasted almost 10 years. In 2008, Mr. Bush said, we're going to, I forget what the act was called, but it was something Reinvestment Act. And he bailed out everybody, and then Obama signed the balance of it over when he took over. So that's what stopped it, is because the government came in and said, nope, we will support individuals. So because of positive news like that, people did not panic. Now, the difference between today and 1929 and 2008 was that in 1929, when the stock started plummeting, in order to sell your stock, you had to contact your broker. And if you didn't have a telephone, I'm not sure if in 1929 the telephone was readily available, you had to go down to your broker's office to sell your stock. In 2008, you had program trading, which means that everybody who's an investor uses what's called the stop loss. So if you buy a stock at $100 a share, you're willing to lose 10% of that stock or $10 before you'll sell. See, smart investors don't do dollar cost averaging, which is what the mutual fund companies want to sell you on. This bullshit idea that you just keep buying the stock as it goes down. The problem is the average return on the market over the last 20 years, according to the index funds, the Dow Jones Industrial Average has returned approximately 8% per year. So if you lose 30%, how long will it take you to get back to zero if you ride down that stock? 3.5 years, right? At 8%. So smart investors don't ride the stock down. They sell once it reaches their threshold of risk, which for most people is 10%. So I buy it at 60 and I set in a stop loss at 54. You buy it at 80, you put in a stop loss at 72. So if it's now at 100, everybody who has a stop loss at 90 is automatically being executed. And so what happens is as the stock drops, everybody's stop loss starts kicking in. And that's why they will close the market early, because they need to stop that, because it's panic, and the panic causes all these triggers to get fired off. It's all automated. So you could literally go from a $100 stock to a $10 stock just because of the way the run on the market is going. And so to stop this program trading, you have events where they will close the market and stop trading for the day, or stop it for an hour or two to just let everybody kind of settle, because everybody's reacting from fear. So Napoleon Hill said that there will never again be another depression in this country as long as people don't have fear. What was it that FDR said? The only thing we have to fear is what?
Fear itself.
Fear itself.
Yeah.
And the same thing is true not only in markets, but in life. So what happens is, if we take these thoughts that we're getting in from the internet, from radio, from magazines, from whatever, parents, friends, relatives, and we accept that we have them coming into our conscious mind with this thing called repetition, it begins to affect us. And so if we're watching Fox News and they're constantly talking about, anybody remember 9/11? Let's go there. Anybody remember how many days they played that scene of the planes hitting the tower? It seemed to me like it was every day.
Yeah.
And what happened with our country? Did we not panic?
Absolutely.
How do you know we panicked?
Patriotic Act and giving away certain freedoms. Yeah. Just for the
That's exactly the point. We passed the Patriot Act, which was nothing patriotic about the Patriot Act. Do you know what freedoms we gave up with the Patriot Act? One of the most important freedoms that came to us from the French, because they were the first to put it into their constitution. And you know what that is? It's not the freedom of speech. Does anybody know?
Habeas corpus.
You got it, habeas corpus. Because the king could basically take you off the streets and throw you into a dungeon and never give you your day in court. Habeas corpus says that you must appear before a judge and be tried within a timely fashion. With the Patriot Act, they suspended habeas corpus. And if they considered you a domestic terrorist, they could lock you up for 6 months and never give you any ability to defend yourself. And we all know, what did they do for those 6 months? They put you in Gitmo or in a black site and they interrogated you using extreme rendition. That was the term. So we gave up the right of habeas corpus. One of the most important rights of any human to have is that you can't be locked up indefinitely because somebody says they don't like you or you committed a crime. You must be brought to trial and determined if you did commit that crime. So what happens is that we begin to hear these suggestions and they begin to invade our conscious mind. And with enough repetition, it comes into our subconscious mind. And what ends up happening is that this autosuggestion, what runs our body? Does anybody know?
Olympic system.
Mind.
Your mind does. Yeah, absolutely. So whatever you're thinking manifests into your body, and then it manifests into action. So we must control our thinking because that's what's going to control our actions. We don't have a manual for how our brain works. This is your manual for how the brain works. The conscious mind takes in information through perception, imagination, willpower, intuition, memory, and reason. Those are the tools that it uses to determine what's going on. And then once it's accepted in your subconscious mind, it then manifests into your body. Whatever is impressed on your mind will express itself on the physical plane through your body. Your body is an instrument of the mind, and it materializes the exact picture impressed on the mind. And this involves behavior. Our behavior and our actions determine our results. If you want better results, you need to change your behavior. If you want to change your behavior, you have to change the words and pictures in your subconscious mind. And how do we change those words and pictures? Anybody? Bueller?
Autosuggestion.
Autosuggestion.
That's right. There in the book Magic of Believing, and I posted something about that because that was a book that the famous comedian, probably the queen of comedy at that time, and the woman that opened up for people, that was able to open the doors for female comedians today, such as the one that passed away recently. Well, not so recently now, but I loved Joan Rivers, right? She gave Phyllis Diller credit for that because Phyllis Diller was another woman that was told, you have a face for radio. But that's all they had when she was coming up. So they told her, you don't even belong on radio. But there's a statement in the book, The Magic of Believing, and it says this, and it's so important that I actually have a picture of it hanging on my wall. And it says, it's the repetition of the same affirmation that leads to belief. And once that belief becomes a deep conviction, things begin to happen. So I'm going to say that again. It's the repetition of the same affirmation that leads to belief. And once that belief becomes a deep conviction, things begin to happen. So Napoleon Hill talked about, how do we create a burning desire? Well, there's a difference between a desire and a burning desire. Does anybody know what the difference is between a burning desire and a regular old desire?
A burning desire is where you go to sleep with it, you eat with it, you wake up with it.
When you convince yourself that you want something so bad that you need it.
Yeah, it goes from okay, so put it this way. You will not always get your needs. I'm sorry, you won't always get your wants, but you'll always get your needs. So I'm going to prove that to you. Do you need food every day?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. What about oxygen? Do you need oxygen?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. You don't want oxygen, right? You need oxygen, right? You don't want water. You need water. We can live as humans for up to I think it's 3 months without eating. How long can a human being survive without water? Anybody know?
3 days.
That's right, 3 to 4 days maximum. So if you're ever on a deserted island, they said, what do you want to bring with you? Water. You can survive without food, but you will not survive without water. So water is that critical to our health. So water, let's talk about going back to some of the belief systems that we have around money. So some of the belief systems that we have about money is the root of all evil. Do we have a belief that that rich people are bad? Does anybody have that belief in them? That in order to be wealthy, you have to be a criminal? Does anybody believe that or kind of go, yeah, that's kind of true? Do you say that to yourself at any level? Yes, no, maybe? Anybody?
Not at all.
I remember my parents always saying money don't grow on trees, and I recall distinctly saying the same thing to my son.
But it does grow on trees. Doesn't it? What do you make money out of?
Paper.
Metal.
And what do you make paper out of from?
Trees.
Trees. So money is made on trees.
It is, I guess.
Did you know at one time in this country, people thought that tomatoes were poisonous and did not eat them? If you believe that money can lead to evil, then you have a negative attitude towards money and you'll never have money in your life. Let me say that again. If you believe that money is in any way, shape, or form evil, then you will never have money in your life. Can I become a great salesman if I think that salespeople are dirtbags, pieces of crap, and bad people?
No.
I don't think.
No. I must believe in what I'm going to do. If I'm going to be a great salesman, would it be important for me to believe that the product I'm selling is a good product? Yes or no? Yeah. I'm not going to sell something that I believe is crap, because then I'm being disingenuous and being criminal. So if you believe that money is the root of all evil, or that money won't, that you can't buy love with money, that's not true, by the way. You can buy lots of love with money because you can buy a dog. Or as they corrected me recently, you can adopt a dog. They told me I went to buy a cat and they said, you're not buying her, you're adopting her. I said, well, then you don't want the $100, right? She said, oh, that's a donation. I said, so I'm adopting a cat and I'm donating $100. And you told me that I have to donate $100. I want to give you $10 for the cat, but the donation is $100. Money makes you more of who you already are. Not true either. Money doesn't do anything either way. You make yourself more of who you are already, not money. It's like, anybody watched Captain America, the Avengers, where the doctor says that the super serum takes somebody who is evil and makes him more evil. And somebody who's good makes them more good. And that's why Steve Rogers got the super serum. Well, that's only true with the super serum. If you have money, money inherently does not make you good or bad. It's neutral. Money is a tool. Because you can hold a screwdriver in your hand, does that make you an engineer? No. Makes you a person that can hold a screwdriver in your hand. That's all it is. It's only a tool. And you have to rid yourself of those beliefs. And how do you create a money consciousness? Anybody know?
Think positive things about money.
Okay. But let's talk about what is the name of this chapter?
Autosuggestion.
So that means that we have to feed our minds with positive ideas. And what was the statement I said? It's the repetition of the same affirmation. I have people that said to me, Bert, I read Think and Grow Rich. I want to read more. What other books should I read? And I said, don't read anything else until you've read Think and Grow Rich 10 to 15 times. Why do I suggest that you read Think and Grow Rich 10 to 15 times?
To imprint it.
Ingrained in your brain.
Yeah. So I'm going to tell you how you know when you got it. See, the mind is very simple. Do you remember, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands? Anybody remember that?
Yes.
How long has it been since you said that? How long?
A couple of seconds repeating it with you.
But how long did you say it last time?
High school.
2 days ago.
In grammar school, perhaps?
For me.
So in your case, Larry, that was like 90 years ago?
Oh, please.
But yet you still remember it.
Yeah.
Did they write it out for you and then you studied it? You went home and highlighted it and took notes, and then you go in front of your parents and go, Mom, Dad, you got to listen to me. I pledge allegiance. I, Larry Albert, pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. No, you didn't do that. You just got up like all the rest of us schmucks and did the Pledge of Allegiance because it was required. So what else is programmed into you without you even being aware of it? Some of your attitudes about money are programmed into you. If you don't have money, it's not because of circumstances. Do you know why you don't have money? Because of your beliefs about money. When at age 25, I became a sales manager at Prudential. And I was only 25 years old, and I had guys on my staff who were 40 and 50 years old. You know what they said to me when I tried to help them? Guys that were 50, 55 years old? One of them said to me, Bert, my left testicle is older than you. There's nothing you can teach me. What can a 25-year-old teach a 55-year-old?
Plenty.
Why?
Bullshit.
Is it age that gives us wisdom? Does age give us wisdom?
No, experiences and learning from them give us wisdom.
Exactly. So what this guy told me is he said, Bert, go F yourself. I went to my district manager, Bob Buis, and Bob said, Bert, what he has is not 25 years of experience. He has 1 year's experience repeated over 1 year's experience repeated over 25 years. Because when you looked at the guy's sales performance, he never accomplished anything.
Which means it's ingrained too, if it's the same thing every year, right?
Yeah. He never did anything he was in the bottom 10% every year for the 25, 26 years he was with Prudential. And he said, Prudential sucks. And I said to him, quit, please. I beg of you. They had a union. I couldn't fire him. So I begged them to quit. Take an early pension. I'll get you an extra $10, whatever it was. I tried to get rid of him. What ended up happening is within 3 months, he begged me to go work with him. And he became my best friend because I put $2,000 in his pocket that week. And he told everybody I was the greatest sales manager since sunshine and white bread and all that good stuff. This is the guy that told me to go F myself. My initial reaction when he told me that he wanted to work with me, I went to Bob because he was my mentor, and he said, Bert, go work with him. I said, but you don't understand, Bob. He told me to go F myself when I offered to work with him. He says, that doesn't matter.
Hey, Bert,
Yeah.
that was a good example of his desire change.
Yeah. Because what changed? He saw that all the salespeople I was working with were leading the office. Out of 50 agents, I had 4 of them in the top 10. Don Strauss, Pete Gately, Tommy, Tim Martin, and one other guy, I forget his name. Oh, Robert something, who ended up leaving because he had to move to state custody with his child or something like that. But so many came after that because, you know, one of the things that Prudential would do is promote your top guys and you'd lose the override in your production. So I learned Think and Grow Rich, and then I found Paul Meyer's material, which is Success Motivation Institute. And the focus there was more on goal setting. And so I taught everybody how to set and achieve goals. But guess what? They still didn't achieve the goal. Why? Anybody want to take a guess?
They didn't make it as an affirmation, no auto-suggestion to do it.
That's right. Nothing changed because there was no auto-suggestion. See, the conscious mind is the captain, and it tells the subconscious mind what to do. But it must be done over and over and over and over again until the subconscious mind accepts it. Now, when the subconscious mind accepts it, what happens? It acts out in the body. Now, how do we know that to be true? How do we know that the subconscious mind passes the material over to the body? You know?
Yeah,
if you decided to walk, do you think walk or do you just get up and walk?
just get up and walk.
Memory, baby,
Get up
muscle
and go, we take action.
If you wanted to walk right now, do you think walk or do you just get up and walk?
Get up and walk.
Just get up and walk.
You think walk. You say, I'm going to go to the refrigerator, and then you walk. Everything that the body does is first a thought. Now, some of them are so quick that you don't think about it. That's called what? Reaction, right? When we react to things, what is a reaction? If you go into a boxing ring with somebody like, say,
yeah, like the martial arts, the practice of it.
Exactly. So if you go into the ring with Mike Tyson, he'd knock you out in seconds because his reaction time is that fast. But how did he develop that reaction time? What Phil
Repetition.
said. Repetition. That's how you build a reaction time. When you first started driving, did you have great responses, reactions? No, you were thinking about everything you were doing. But today you can be driving and putting on your makeup and listening to your cell phone and messaging people because most of that has become a habit. And what is a habit? A habit is something, it's either a physical habit or a mental habit. And the way we create habits is through what?
Repetition.
Repetition. So how do you become a person that has a money mentality? You think about the amount of money that you want to make, think about the kind of money you want to save, and you think about the kind of money that you want to invest. And you do it every single day. And that's why we write out a definite main purpose statement. And we want to have affirmations. Now we're running a bit over time, but is everybody willing to hang in there for another 20 or 30 minutes? Because I want to share with you a video by one of my best mentors, Paul J. Meyer, and he's going to put a different spin on the idea of affirmations and auto-suggestion. Is everybody okay with that?
Yes.
All right, let me stop this share. Okay, and let me find the video and I will share it with you. Oh, okay. It is right here. Let's see if this is the right one. Come on, baby. All right. Let somebody let me know if you can see it in a minute. Can you guys see it? Affirmation workshop.
Got it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to take one of these Zoom sessions and we're going to do an hour-and-a-half workshop on affirmations because it is the key to all your success. Because in order to change your subconscious mind, you must control the thoughts that go in there. And the only way you can do that is you can't do it by just reading the newspaper, watching TV, or going on the internet. It has to be written affirmations that you use on a daily basis. And that's what the definite main purpose statement is. It is my birthday, February 20th, 2023. And I, Bert Hernandez, am so happy and grateful now that I'm receiving in excess of $100,000 each and every month consistently from my insurance agency, real estate investments, online businesses, coaching and mastermind, and other income streams. That's how you think about wealth. I easily and effortlessly accomplish my daily tasks by scheduling 30 appointments each day, each week, 15 presentations each week, and 5 new clients per week, thus ensuring my success. I'm a lean, fit, muscular, 175-pound man that exercises 5 times per week without fail. I am disciplined, organized, scheduled, responsible, punctual, single-minded, and laser-focused leader that gets things done on time or before. So you have to have those things and you have to say those things. So without any further ado, I introduce you to Paul J. Meyer. Paul J. Meyer, by the way, started his company, Success Motivation, SMI, in 1960, right around the same time that Earl Nightingale started the Nightingale Conant Corporation. So it's kind of like a dispute of who really started the personal development industry as far as the audio is concerned. Paul has sold more than Nightingale Conant. One of his programs alone, the Dynamics of Personal Goal Setting, has sold over $2 billion worth of programs. He has published and sold more books on the subject of personal development than any other living or dead author. Yet you don't know Paul, and most people don't, because his business model was not the model that Tony Robbins uses or Bob Proctor, which is to get on a stage. Paul did it by selling franchises of his product. And so while Tony Robbins was on stage and Bob Proctor was on stage, he was at home with his wife and kids. And you'll hear a little bit about his philosophy of life on that. Because money's important, but...
Book of affirmations that I wrote, I broke it down into physically, mentally, spiritually, socially, financially, and your family. And sent these out to our sales organization for years. And the whole idea was to just feed affirmations. And I think you need to develop this same technique with your salespeople. And if you start feeding them affirmations, spaced repetition will take over, and the law of displacements will take place, and the negatives will disappear, the positives will appear, and the production will go up.
And that's exactly what I did. And that allowed me to win my first president's citation with Prudential. Because once I understood that having the goal wasn't enough, that you needed to affirm the goal every day so that it's in your conscious mind, so that eventually it displaces and erases the negative conditioning that you already have. So somebody said, how do you change it? Through repetition. So I had affirmations that for sales that said, if they sit, I sell. I ask everybody to buy a minimum of 5 times. I have earned the right to see this person. I had an affirmation that says, what's behind the door, I cannot tell, but this I know and know it well. The more I open, the more I sell. When I have everything to gain and nothing to lose by trying, I will by all means try. Do it now, do it now. These were affirmations that I used to get myself over the hurdle, to avoid call reluctance and fear, because we are all conditioned to be fearful of talking to strangers. That's programmed into us at an early age. So we have to understand that some of us are shy or introverted. That's not who we really are. That's who we've been conditioned. If your mother was an introverted person or a shy person, chances are you became a shy person. Statistically, if your parents were overweight, you have a 65 to 70% chance of being overweight yourself. And today, it's even worse than ever before. If you want to see how fat America is, go watch a television show from the 70s. And you'll sit there and you'll go, oh my God, they're so skinny. Because they were. Why was it that people in the 70s and early 80s were thin and today we're all plump? Anybody want to hazard a guess?
They're more active.
More active? What else? Well, we didn't have gyms in the 70s. The gym craze didn't start till the 80s when Arnold came on the scene, right? What changed?
More commercials like McDonald's, maybe?
Yeah. What changed was our eating habits, not our exercise. There's an old saying in the bodybuilding business, which is you can't outwork a poor diet. You can't out-exercise a poor diet. You could sit on a treadmill for an hour and burn 800 calories and then have a Big Mac, which is 1,500 calories. And what took you an hour to burn, you got it back in maybe 5 minutes. Or go have some French fries, right? So it's what changed was our diet. We didn't eat all the fast food in the 70s because it hadn't really taken place. Why are countries like China in trouble today? Does anybody know? Has anybody been following what's happening with the health? China, for the longest time, has had the best health of any other country, first world country. And it was because of their diet. But what's happening now is there's more fast food restaurants in China, and it's beginning to change them. They're not living longer than everybody else. So it's all about diet. So enough of my educational level.
Here's an affirmation book here. I feel and act energetic and healthy. I enjoy daily exercise. I eat correct and proper food and build a strong body. I am active every day. I daily read books and articles to gain insight and information on health. I have a physical goal to be in top condition, alert and active past 100.
Now, I suggest that if you hear an affirmation that he's reading off here and you like it, write it down and adopt it as your own. You'll get an idea of his attitude because this part's really funny.
24 years to go. I wake up alert, enthusiastic, excited about each new day. My physical health is always in tune with what is required to achieve my goals. Now listen to that one again. My physical health is always in tune with what is required to achieve my goals. That means just rise to the occasion, whatever it takes. Whatever it takes, I got the energy to do it. I get some form of exercise daily: swim, tennis, biking, walking. I do sit-ups daily, run on a treadmill during bad weather. I take vitamins daily to give me total nutrition. My eyesight is improving as I learn more about vision. I don't need these, by the way. I play.
Technical difficulty. Hold on.
I'm the #1 84-year-old player in the nation. It's one of my tennis player. And by the way, I'm the #1 85-year-old player in the nation. It's one of my affirmations. So it means in nine years, I'm going to be the #1 tennis player in the nation, 85. Let me tell you why I figured that's a no-brainer. There's not going to be many of us show up for the tournament.
At age 40, Paul decided to take up tennis, having never played tennis in his life. He wanted to prove to all his friends who were saying that it's too late for them to start something new. He set a goal. He wrote down on a piece of driftwood, he had a person carve into it, I am a Class A tennis player. And he put that on the desk in the foyer of his home. He set a goal to become state ranked as a Class A tennis player. That's the best you can be. And he achieved.
Your phone's muted.
Yeah, the Zoom always has some glitches, it seems. Let me do this here. Let's share it again. All right, there we go. Can everybody see the video again? Yes? No?
Yeah.
Yes.
These guys will be out there with their tennis racket. Oh boy. I have a powerful overhead smash. I have an excellent cross-court shot. My ability to anticipate is my best asset. Those are physical. And then I have social ones, mental, financial, business affirmations, family. I love my family. I enjoy being with my kids. I enjoy special time with Jane. My family is important to me. I enjoy planning trips. I spend time with Jana. She was 12 years old at the time. So on, so on, so on. God is the head of my family, and I seek his guidance to help me be a good father and husband. Jane is number one in my life. Jane and I communicate with complete freedom, love, and openness on any and every subject. I love my brother and sister and enjoy being with them. These are in my handwriting here from 35 years ago, and it all came to pass. And the business affirmations in there, every single one of them became a reality. They were stated back then in the present, and this was in a trunk at home, and I went and dug it out to show it to you here today. Here's one. This one's Kevin here. Where's Kevin? Okay. My name is Leslie Meyer. I am 4 years old. You've never seen this before, have you? Things I can do. I can swim. I can clean my room. I keep my toys neat. I dress myself. I help my mother. I play tennis. I read well. I ride my bike. I do math. Things I like to do. I like to go to the Lions Park with Daddy and Mama. I like to play with Joe, Jeff, Susan, Mike, and Brady. They were neighbors. I like to go walking with my dad. I love to watch cartoons on TV. I like to read. I like to swim. I like to do math lessons. I like to play with Kim, Tiffany, Lacey, and Meredith, and Jennifer. And who are her best friends now? Those girls, aren't they? She's now 29, so 25 years later, the people she said I loved to play with are her friends now. Isn't that interesting? We wrote these with her, and then she read them every single day for years and years and years and years. And then we put them on, because we also put them on tapes. And the last thing before she went to sleep at night, she listened to these affirmations. And and I know she's my daughter, but if she's not a class act young lady, unpretentious, and then I've never seen one, and a godly woman. And that all started with us pre-programming her with affirmations, and her self-image is above and beyond and better than anybody's I've ever seen any young lady. I have another set of sample affirmations here that I wrote out myself, and I put the kind of problem and the affirmation, or like successful goal setting depends on do it now, and then I put the affirmation. And I got several pages of these, and I'll give you a set of them when we finish. And you can take those, and you can use those. You can duplicate those also and use them in your organization. Now now we're going to get down to the nitty-gritty here on the workshop. Number one, giving a clear understanding of what is meant by the word affirmation, and how they can be used to eliminate negative attitudes, affect behavior, change, and gain greater success. Number two, setting forth the guidelines for the construction of affirmations. 3, what you can expect from the use and what they will, and also what they will not do. 4, we're going to include an exercise of programmed instruction that will make you a utilizer, one of the most effective tools for personal development. This will actually be a hands-on walkthrough. And those 4 things, that's my goal we're going to accomplish in the next few minutes. Self-talk and affirmations. Let's begin with an old expression. Have you ever heard this say to yourself, I need a good talking to? Okay. What did that mean when you uttered those words? Yeah, self-talk. Most likely the idea was to effect a change, to correct an error, overcome a bad habit. And so it'd have to be one of those things, wouldn't it? Many people tend to look down on anyone who talks to himself, especially if it's out loud. But self-talk not only is practiced by everyone, it's continuous. It goes on all the time. You may make use of self-talk in a conscious form or thought, or it can be subliminally, as a habit or automatic action or reaction, but we all engage in self-talk. This, in essence, is what affirmations are. They are controlled and directed self-suggestions that give direction and impact to your plans and goals for leadership, self-improvement, and a greater utilization of your potential for success. That's what an affirmation is. They are controlled and directed self-suggestions. See, we've been using them, but now we're going to control them, and now we're going to direct them. Other than that, I'm not asking everybody to do a lot of work. It's going to make it easier. And we all know we've been programmed and scripted. Your unconscious self-talking is a reflection of those feelings or emotions of the past that are stored in your memory bank, and they're on your mental computer. You never lose nor forget it, but you can add to it, and you can replace it. The more recent input tends to be stronger, but only for a short period of time. Only under controlled circumstances can controlled self-talk or affirmation exert a lasting overriding effect on your habits and attitudes. I think you can picture the effects of affirmations on your attitudes if you visualize a child's seesaw. One end of the board is loaded with negative and the other is weighted with positive. Since childhood, most input, however was well-intended, has been negative. Thus, all or most of your feelings and attitudes tend to be negative. It couldn't be otherwise. It's spaced repetition, negative. But the moment you begin to use positive affirmations, you gradually begin to shift the weight. Now, let's say it's on a scale like this, and this is the negative up here, and with affirmations, it just does this. Just totally changes it. Or another illustration I've used before is a bucket of water, and the affirmations are rocks, and you have water in there. If I just keep putting the rock in there one at a time, where will the water go? Yeah, it's going to go out. And you put in maybe 50 rocks, it'll displace, bend the size of the rock, get rid of a gallon or 2 gallons of water. Same thing in your subconscious mind. The key lies in the constant feeding of the unconscious, passing first, it goes through the conscious mind into the unconscious mind, so you can achieve a balance. How to construct affirmations. There's some very different guidelines to which you must adhere rigidly if you're going to use these correctly. If you're typical, you may find at first you have a huge mental block. But once you've internalized and understand the nature of it, they're going to have any difficulty. There's going to be some requirements here, and they're simple. What are they? Let's list them. Number 1,
Okay, so I just wanted to play a little bit of that clip so you get an idea or a taste of what the tool is. Affirmations control and direct your lives because of what you allow to go in your mind. Where you are right now, or as James Allen said, your environment is just a looking glass. It's a reflection, not of what is reality, but what's in your mind. Your thoughts create your reality. So what does that mean? So if you don't have the relationships that you want, if you don't have the finances you want, if you don't have the health that you want, you need to start looking inward and look at what you are affirming, because it's your existing habits and beliefs that are creating your reality. And so you know, one of the things that you notice when Paul was talking is he talked about specific affirmations when it came to his tennis goals. I have an amazing serve. I have a cross. I don't know enough about tennis to talk about it, but he mentioned certain specific movements that he did to create it. When I was in sales, I used to say I make 100 phone calls each week, book 20 appointments, and make 5, 10 sales. I affirmed the results I wanted, because if I am in sales or I own my own business or whatever it is I want to do, I have to affirm what I want, because at some level, if I'm not achieving what I am saying, what does that tell me about my belief? Anybody? Can I accomplish something I don't believe I can do?
No, you don't believe it.
You don't
I don't believe
in
it. So if I say I'm making 100,000 a month and I'm not making 100,000 a month, it's only because I don't believe it. The moment that I believe I'm making 100,000 a month, I'll start making it. So do I need to know how to make $100,000 a month?
Yeah.
No,
No,
No.
no,
I thought you had to have a plan.
no.
no.
You can have a plan, but you don't have to have the perfect plan. So when I set the goal at age 25 to have $1 million in real estate by the time I was 30, the plan was to buy 2 properties every year for 5 years. And that each of those properties would basically have a net worth of $1 million, which means that those 10 properties each had to have at least $100,000 in positive equity. Well, there was a small problem with that. Maybe the first property could grow by 100,000. Average real estate back then was 175,000. What rate of return would I need to get on $175,000 for it to become, worth 275? Anybody know? So if I go into an Excel spreadsheet and I put that, I want to have $250,000. Today it's only worth 150. The time period is 5 years. It's going to give me, and I set a calculation for the interest rate. What do you think the interest rate would have to be? Because I'm doubling it, right? So how long does it take money to double? Anybody know? Anybody know what the rule of 72 is? So the rule of 72 says that money doubles based on, so let's say I can get 10% interest, right? At 10% interest, how often does money double? What's 72? What's 10% multiplying? What's 10% of 72? 7.2 years, correct?
Yes.
So if I have $150,000, it's going to take 7.2 years for that money to double to be worth 300,000. To double the money in 3.6 years, I need what kind of return? Anybody good with math here? You don't have to be that good. It's basically half of 7.2, which is what? 3.6, right? So at 20% interest, money doubles every 3.6 years. So for me to have $1 million, that $150,000 property would have had to have a 20% increase in value each year for the 5 years. Is that possible in real estate to get a 20% return each year?
Yes.
Yeah. So now the first 2 properties that I buy can do that. But now the next 2 properties I buy only have 4 years. And the next 2 properties I buy only have 3 years. And the last properties have only 1 year. What kind of rate of return do I need to have to take 150,000 and double it to 300,000 in 1 year? A 200% rate of return. So what was wrong? The plan was wrong, right? Mathematically, it wouldn't work.
True.
So how did I achieve the goal of making $1 million by the time I was 35? Because that's what the goal became. I didn't hit it at 30, so I extended the goal to age 35. What did I do? It wasn't done through real estate. It was done through a business. How many ways can you make a lot of money? Anybody know? Can you become wealthy as a W-2 employee?
No.
Very difficult, right? Unless you run the company and you're on W-2. So there's only, to my knowledge, can you become wealthy through real estate investing and holding?
Yes.
So you can become wealthy through real estate. Can you become wealthy by investing in stocks and bonds? Buying companies that way?
Yes.
Yes. Can you become wealthy by owning your own business?
Yes.
Okay, that's it. Those are the 3 ways. So if you want to become wealthy, and right now you're working at Amazon, what are you going to have to figure out? And you're not Jeff Bezos running Amazon. You're just driving or working at they opened up a new facility here. And Amazon is not that bad. They start people, according to this girl, they started her at $15 an hour. 3 months later, they're promoting her to $16.50 an hour, health insurance and all those benefits. The minimum wage here in the state of Florida right now is $11 an hour. So Amazon is paying more than what they're required to pay. But can you get wealthy on $15 an hour?
No.
No. So at some point, if you have a job, which means just over broke, right? You have to figure out how to take the money you make from your job and put it into either real estate, stocks and bonds, or doing some kind of gig, side hustle of your own business. So the vehicle is what's going to get you there. So for me, the vehicle was starting my own insurance agency and then selling it at age 34. And that's how I did it. I could have done it through real estate, but I would have had to been much more aggressive in my buying properties. I would have had to find very undervalued properties that I could flip and turn a large return, which was really difficult in the Northeast because the Northeast is overpriced to begin with. I'm not saying it wasn't possible, just my plan wasn't right. But I still achieved the goal. Because once you plant in your mind that you want to have a net worth of $1 million, your subconscious mind will go to work and figure out how to do it. Because that's its job. See, you think that your conscious mind, the one that you're using right now to think that I'm being stupid or that I'm being a genius, is what's really running your life. But your subconscious mind is like this big. Because what runs your heart, lungs, kidneys, liver, what mind is running all those things?
Subconscious.
Subconscious.
Subconscious. It's the most powerful mind in your body. And yet we use it for a storage tool. The conscious mind is your RAM, your random access memory. Does everybody know anything about computers? A little bit?
Yeah.
So you know that a computer has a random access memory, which is what we're using right now. But where is all the information stored?
Hard drive.
Bingo. So the RAM is your conscious mind. The hard drive is your subconscious. Where are all the programs stored?
Subconscious.
But in computers, where are they stored? On your hard drive.
Yeah.
So what I do is I have a shortcut and I click on that shortcut and it executes the program. But where is that program stored? On my C drive. The random access memory is random access memory. It's memory that accesses all these programs that are in my hard drive. That's what your conscious mind does. You're thinking, if I said to you, what did you have for dinner yesterday? Your random access memory, your conscious mind goes, oh, yesterday, let's see. Yesterday I had soup yesterday. What kind of soup? Chicken and rice. But it wasn't stored here because you didn't go chicken soup. You had to go, I had to think about it. What are you doing when you're thinking about it? You ever see that little circle when your computer's trying to find a program or get it going? That's what you're doing. You're in that little circle. What did I eat yesterday? And then you retrace it through your memory, right? If I said to you, where were you the day that 9/11 happened? What happens? You go into that loop again, right? Your random access memory, your conscious mind is going to tap into your hard drive, your subconscious, and it's going to go, where was I on that day? Oh, I was on Route 22 in Union, driving to work when I saw the second plane hit the tower. Visible as day. You could see the smoke coming from the towers. And the radio was saying that it was some kind of an accident because nobody knew yet that it was a terrorist attack, right? Remember, why do I remember that? Anybody know why?
Because of the emotion.
The one thing that Paul forgot to mention is that the subconscious mind will take information that is emotionally charged and program it immediately into your subconscious. Do you know why? How many times do you have to stick your finger in the fire for you not to do it again?
Once.
Why?
As it burns, it hurts.
Right. And that is, pain is what? It's an emotion.
Pain.
Pain is emotional. So it's a survival mechanism. Whatever has a strong emotion attached to it is usually some form of pain. Or do you remember all your happy events in life as vividly as you remember the bad events in life? Think about that. No, you don't. We remember the bad more than we more easily remember the bad than we remember the good. Again, why? Survival. See, if we were a positive person in the days where humans weren't as nice as they are today, let's say, and you're going through the forest and you saw this cuddly little teddy bear, Yogi, right? And you go, oh my God, look at that little teddy bear. Oh, I'm going to go hug it. Well, what happens with the mama bear when she sees you grabbing her baby bear? Anybody know?
Gets a little upset.
Attack you.
Yeah. Did you know that a bear has the most draw power of any animal on earth? Its claws are 7 to 8 inches long. People did not survive from bear attacks. They are mauled to death. It is one of the most dangerous animals on this planet. And of course, it wants your picnic basket. And we all gotten inundated with those cartoons that bears were friendly people. No, they're not. So now you're walking through the forest and you see a guy holding a spear. And if you're a positive thinking person, you're like, oh my God, it's a new friend, right? Oh my God. So you start waving, hey there, new friend. And the next thing that happens is you have a spear thrown through your chest. So how are we programmed to not do that? Yeah, survival. So we don't go, hi stranger with a spear. Hi bear, you're so cute. Oh, look, it's a big cat. Let me go pet it. Maybe it wants me to pet. We don't do that. So when we see things, our first reaction is, let's not be too friendly. Let's not be too overt. But we're now in a different world. So now those behaviors don't make us succeed, but our programming from the past and programming for our parents, because what is a parent's job with their children? What's our first job with our children? Starts with a P and ends with a tech. Protect, right? Isn't that our first job as parents, to protect our children? Nobody's a parent? Everybody's a parent? Nobody's a parent. Yeah.
Yes.
So what do we do to protect our children? We tell them, oh yeah, go pet the teddy bear.
Don't talk to strangers.
Don't talk to strangers. Don't cross my father used to literally crush my hand when we crossed the street. And I would be like trying to shake it loose and he wouldn't let me. And he literally would crush my hand and he'd hit me and say, stop doing that. Because I didn't want to walk with this in his hand. I wanted to be, I was an independent child. But he wanted to protect me. He wasn't being mean. He didn't want me to get killed. Our job as a parent is to protect our children. So we program them with things that we know are going to be helpful. Don't do drugs. Don't drink alcohol. Don't pet the bears. Don't play with the alligators. Don't pet the 600-pound tiger. You know, don't talk to strangers. You know, stranger danger became very popular years ago. So we have to program ourselves. Now in the adult world, can you, if you're in a company working, abide with the stranger danger mentality, where you just don't talk to people because you're afraid that because you don't know them? Will that get you anywhere in the corporate America?
No.
Yeah, it won't. So we have to have new beliefs. And the belief is whatever it needs to be. So what I want you to do as a result of this conversation is to think about what are some of the beliefs that you have about money. And I'd like you to make a list, write them down, do it by hand. It's the best thing. Don't type it up. Just take a piece of paper and write down 10 beliefs that you have that are negative about money. Because if you don't have money, that's the reason why. And so we need to change that, because as long as you believe that money is the root of all evil, that rich people are evil people, that behind every great fortune, there's a great crime. And if all these beliefs that are out there, if you accept them, even if they're true to some degree, if you accept them, you're giving yourself an excuse for not having wealth. Because wealth is good. Without wealth, where would we all be? We are one of the wealthiest countries in the world. Where would America be without its great resources and wealth? Japan went to war in World War II because it didn't have enough resources, because it's an island. And it wanted China. Why? Because China has humongous resources. What did Hitler want? What was he when he invaded Poland? What did he want from Poland? The land. Why did he invade the Ukraine? The Ukraine is one of the largest agricultural countries in the world. Now it's also oil, but he wanted the land, because how do you build an empire if you can't feed your people? What provided Rome with all its agricultural products? It's a little country called Egypt. Egypt was the fruit basket or the bread basket of Europe. It had more. Now, I find that hard to believe, because Egypt is basically a desert. But I guess at one point in that era, it was a plethora of agriculture. And of course, they had many famines in that period, locusts and all these other things. But anyway, enough of a history lesson. But I'd like you to read Autosuggestion. I'd like you to make a list of 10 things that you believe, whether very strongly or just a little bit, about what is negative with money or having wealth. Because you need to take each of those negatives. If your statement is that money is the root of all evil, you need to change that to money, the love of money is the root of all evil. Money is good. Wealth is good. It gives you financial independence. It allows you to do what you want to do with your time. If you want to go help people, you don't have to worry about showing up to a 9-to-5 job. You can just wake up this morning and go help somebody, because you're not focused on making money, because you already have it. So it doesn't take away your time and energy. All right, ladies and gentlemen, any questions on what we've discussed today?
Thank you, Bert. Appreciate it.
All right. Well,
Thank you, Bert.
Thank you.
well, thank you all.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Here's
Thank
to
you.
a healthy and prosperous new year. 2023 can be exactly what you want, but you must affirm it. You must affirm what it is you want. And, you know, the goal that I want you to focus on for this year is I want you to decide, if you don't have $1 million, by when you will have $1 million saved in cash, not real estate assets, cash. Is it possible to have $1 million in net worth? Yeah. There was one other thing that I wanted to share with you, and I want you all to do this. Let me share this before we go. I want you all to go to this website, and this is the Social Security website, ssa.gov, and they have a section called my account. And I want you to create an account for yourself. It's free. And I want you to get a statement of your earnings and your potential retirement Social Security benefit. I just did it recently, and I was surprised that in my lifetime, I have earned almost $4 million because they record all the money you made. And I was pleasantly surprised that my maximum Social Security benefit when I reach age 66 and 4 months is just over $4,000 a month. But that's not enough. You need more. So this will give you an idea, because at this point, you need to be thinking not about retirement, but financial independence. And this is part of that. And this way you can say, okay, so I'm going to have $4,000 a month coming in. And so what should you do before you retire? What are some of the things that you should pay off before you hit retirement age? Anybody want to take a gander, a guess? Should your car be paid off?
Yes.
Should all your credit cards be paid off? All your debt?
Yes.
Not all your debt?
All your debt.
Yeah.
Do you still want to pay $1,800, $1,900 a month on your mortgage when you're only making $4,000 or $5,000?
No.
So you should be thinking about paying off your mortgage. You should be thinking that by age 67 or sooner, but at least by age 67, that all your debt is paid off. You have zero debt, you have zero car payments, and you have zero mortgage payment. That's why a lot of people move to Florida, because down here, when homes were cheaper, you could buy a home down here, a nice house for $200,000, $250,000. And if you focused on making money, you could pay off your home in 5 years. And then all you have is your property taxes, which are $2,000 or $3,000 a year. So you have your home free and clear, and your monthly payment is only taxes and homeowners insurance, which is less than $800 a month. And so you're retired, and all your debt that you pay is about $600, $700 a month for property taxes and insurance. You can't do that up north. My tax bill up north was $28,000 a year, property taxes. So how do you retire up north? And then you got a state income tax in Florida, in New Jersey. Down here, you don't. So when you get that $4,000, $5,000 from Social Security, if you live in a state that has an income tax, you're going to pay 7% of that. I would just pay taxes, federal taxes on the money, but I wouldn't pay state because there is no state tax here. That's why a lot of people move to Florida. So you got to be thinking a little bit, because if you don't plan for that day, you'll blink and one day you'll be there and you won't be where you want to be. And the sooner you start, the easier it'll be, because that gives you time for the rule of 72 to kick in, because you need time and money in order to be wealthy. All right. So do yourself a favor, get that report. It's free. It'll be an eye opener, and it'll help you in setting and achieving your goals for financial independence. All right, everybody. Yep, Lisa, you're debt free. I'm moving in with you. All right. You guys have a great weekend, and I'll talk to you next week. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Hey.
Thank you.